This video is going to be a compilation of what day 1 versus what day 1000 of me raising chickens would end up looking like. Just a disclaimer, some of the footage in this video is stock footage because I don't really have a lot of footage from back in 2020. With that being said, let's go. During the course of the first day, we were informed at approximately 3 p.m. that we were going to go pick up chickens. Keep in mind, this was the day that, at least in my state of Connecticut, that lockdown started to become real, and to be completely honest, this was a really good call that we could pick them up on the day that lockdown was officially declared a really bad thing. So, what did it look like? Basically, we picked them up, brought them home, and also I had to make sure that they were nice and warm in the car, or else they would have been cold, because it was only 50 degrees that one day. With that being said, we brought them home safely and put them up in the brooder. This was the day that at least we named about 5/9 of the chickens up there. That's at least from my understanding. I don't remember. Some of the first names included things like Lovey and Abro and a couple of other chickens. If you're wondering what happened to other chickens, I'll mention all the names later in the video. But here are the ones I remember they're currently playing on screen right now. Anyways, this is what the rest of the month would end up playing out like. At around this point, we were starting to get some real results out of the chickens, and also just about every single chicken, I believe, except for Loudmouth, was named at that point. So we have all but one of the Buff Orpingtons were named at that point. But after that, all the chickens were, I believe Loudmouth got her name sometime in like early May, but then we had some other cool things occur. So yeah, keep watching till the end and you'll see the rest of what happens. So nothing really happened in this month, no chickens were lost, just typical month. Now, I'll hear you guys asking, why did you choose some random day in May, and also some random day on the timeline instead of like day 50 or something? Well, shut up, because day 50 is coming up in a minute. But here's the first thing. This day was actually the first day where something significant ended up happening to the chickens. 2 days earlier, we let a couple chickens outside for about 10 minutes. The next day, we let them out for a little bit longer in a much more wider yard, and the next day, we let them out for a little bit longer in an even bigger yard. Unfortunately, this day, BCT got into a fight with another chicken, and unfortunately ended up injuring Mrs. Peepers on this very day. Don't ask how I remember these dates. I could never tell you, to be honest, but that's all there is to say about this day. On to day 50. At this point, there wasn't really much to really start discussing about. Like, yeah, there was some things going on, and at this point, Loudmouth has finally gotten her name, and the chicken coop was about 85% completed. But that was all there was to report on this day. Nothing really special for the day, other than the fact that, yeah, Loudmouth got named, and that was it. So, pretty cool, right? Now let's move on to a more significant day. This was the first day that the chickens got their coop officially. I remember it being a Friday, and I remember one odd thing about that day was that at night there was an extremely powerful thunderstorm with a tornado warning for a short period of time. Yes, that's like one of the key things I remember from that day, don't ask. Anyways, yeah, there's nothing else that happened that day other than the chickens just moving outside. Anyways, let's move on to an even bigger date. Alright, so this day would be the precursor to the next day. This day was like just a really long day with a really powerful thunderstorm to kick it all off right in the end, and there was really nothing too special about this day, but what happened the next day would be even bigger, so let's get into that. See, you might remember these two videos I made a little while ago. This is Candlewick, so unfortunately she ended up passing away on this day due to a red-tailed hawk attack. This was the first of, actually 3 I think, I don't know to be honest, but whatever it was just crazy to think about. The fact that this red-tailed hawk didn't come back until recently. That was the last time we'd hear about it, and oh boy, I was so mad, and I was just making up fantasies where I was punching the ever-loving crap out of that thing, but that was just a fantasy world, unfortunately. But yeah, that was pretty much it for that day. So I hear you guys asking, what is the importance of the most random day in the world's history? Well, I'm going to be explaining why August 23rd, 2020 was a significant day for my chickens. This actually happened to be the day that we got the first egg, and I believe that was from Summer or Mrs. Peepers. It was a barred rock, followed up by about 4 p.m. we had another egg being laid by Loudmouth. I saw Loudmouth lay that egg, so I can confirm that one. This all happened 3 years ago at this point, and that's crazy to think about, so yeah, let's move on. So this one right here is a fairly insignificant one, but what is the significance of it? Well, this was the first time my chickens ever ended up seeing snow when they were outside. They've seen snow before while they're inside, but never while they were outside, so this was their first time seeing it. It was quite the interesting event for them, because it was like 5 inches of snow in October. It was crazy. This is yet another decently insignificant one, but it was the day that I created my channel, which ended up becoming the biggest document of my chickens, which is pretty cool, I guess. So like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video so far, because this has taken me a long time to make. So this was about the time period when my chickens turned 1 year old. I did post a birthday party video, which is now privated because it's ridiculously bad, but well, we don't talk about that. So basically the chickens turned 1 on this day, which means we've officially spent 1 year with the chickens. It was an extremely crazy thing to think about, especially considering that my chickens did not look like they were a year old. They were going happy as ever. Alright, so this day is also pretty significant because this was the day where we introduced 3 new chickens to the pet flock. Those 3 chickens including things like... Nah, I almost said Kit Kat. It's Sprinkles, Falcon, and Gray Cloud. Gray Cloud was actually the day after, but well, we don't talk about that because, yeah. That's really the most significant part of the day. The chickens actually managed to hold them decently until they found out Falcon was a rooster, and then they tried to exile him for like 7 weeks. It was crazy. Alright, so at this point we've officially had the chickens for 500 days, and for some reason my dumb self didn't even realize that we had the chickens for 500 days. It was crazy. But the chickens definitely were standing out really good. The only disease we had contracted in that flock at the time was the one time that Captain Blackwing got Bumblefoot and ended up surviving. That was crazy, but well, that was it. Nothing really to report on for the chickens, just the ducks. The only thing that ended up happening on this day is the fact that on this day, our barred rock named What the Cluck ended up moving into the pet. She was probably one of the more forgettable chickens, but I still remember her daily and the impact that she made on the channel at that point. She went by 2 different names, known as one under the alias of Cluckers and the other one, What the Cluck. So this one was very similar to the last one, the only difference being that instead of a barred rock being moved out, it was a Buff Warpington, which I'm pretty sure you know the name to, Rogue. Rogue has become like so iconic on the channel. Like at this point, I literally just take a screenshot of Rogue, crop out everything but the head, and then like apply it to like some like PNGs of businessmen, and then all of a sudden we got some Rogue businessmen out there, man. It's so cool. I have like an entire folder of those pictures, man. They're so cool. Anyways, yeah, Rogue is pretty cool. Alright, so this is another fairly unfortunate day, and if you didn't already know, I actually had a chicken named Sprinkles, and she unfortunately ended up passing away on the 29th of May, 2022. It was a very sad night, but it ended up having to happen because the chicken was in immense pain for multiple weeks. We're finally getting there. At this point in time, I didn't even realize that we're getting really close to having 1,000 days with these chickens, but at this point, nothing had really happened ever since Sprinkle's death, other than the fact that, yeah, we had a couple of the chickens get close calls with different predators, but other than that, nothing really big has happened at that point. So, yeah, let's move on. We finally made it to the end of a long, harrowing, and also exciting story. Not only have I milked this content to death by making it over 8 minutes long, but also we've discussed about a lot of things. My chickens have survived through blizzards, witnessing other chickens dying unfortunately, witnessing ducks passing away, witnessing the creation of themselves. It's been such a long and harrowing journey for the chick. For that, I'd like to ask you to like and subscribe, because not only was it a harrowing journey for these chickens, but also a harrowing journey for me to edit this video. I've spent approximately 9 hours so far putting this together, so I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like to subscribe to the channel. Anyways, I am the chicken, and I am leaving here because I have better things to do than sit in front of a computer all day.